Welcome to another edition of Coffee with the Goose. Good to have you with me. You know, we talk about things that are interesting, fascinating, and irritating. I am the Goose, and I'm so happy you joined me again. Yes, I'm wearing my Pacquiao t-shirt. Yes, yeah, I'm a Pac-Man fan, and I'm not afraid to admit it, okay? And I've got kind of a Pacquiao-related story for you today. Also, a story about the crazy experiences of travel, okay? I'm going to share one experience with you specifically. This happened when my wonderful father-in-law, Roberto, I love the man, had his fourth stroke, and he wasn't doing well. Raquel went over by herself to see her dad, and she came home and said, "You're going next." I said, "What, by myself?" She said, "Yeah. And you're going to bring a lift chair to him, because lift chairs overseas, over in the Philippines, are just too expensive, and I don't think they had, the model, the real nice models that we were looking for." So she said, "Bring a lift chair." What is the lift chair? It's kind of like a lazy boy, except it helps. It's electric, and it helps lift you up when you can't get up on your own. So you're able to get up on your own 2 feet and walk. They're kind of expensive, but that's not the point. The point is, hey, let's take care of Roberto, or do our part, okay? So we got a lift chair, and it weighed about 250 pounds, something like that. And I got it up to the airport here in near home, and it was just too big they wouldn't allow the full model on the plane. So we had to break it into two pieces. Stuffed one piece away, about 50 pounds. So that left a big box, about 200 pounds. Now, I'm not going to brag. I stay in good shape. So I had to, toughen up, buttercup. You're going to have to deal with this. So I carried it into the airport and, carried it up to the check-in desk and got it on board, and everything was fine. And we flew to, this just me. And I traveled by myself to the Philippines before, not a problem. We got to Seoul, South Korea, okay? Now, Raquel, because she's smart, she knows how to make those connections. She set it up ahead of time with Korean Air that we could have this big box shipped on one of their planes, even though, because it's medical. You make exceptions, right? So, I got it off the plane. Actually, let me check though. I'll back up a second. I got it to Dallas. And here's where the trouble started. And my next stop was Seoul, South Korea. Dallas was where the trouble started, okay? I had to switch planes and had to switch gates. So I checked in with the airline people. I said, "Look, I got this big unit, and I need to just check in with you, make sure everything's okay." And they said, "Yeah, it's fine." And that in your bag, your carry-on bag. "Oh, let's going overseas." I said, "Well, my passport's there. All my belongings are in there, my money, everything." And so I panicked. Oh my God, this has turned into a disaster right away. Oh no! Well, did a lot of running around and phone calls, and oh my God, help me out. And finally, it worked. I got it, okay? So on the way to Seoul, South Korea, one near disaster averted, okay? So, like I said, Raquel set it up to where when we switched over to Korean Air, everything was fine. They were going to allow this big, bulky box, 200 pounds, on their Korean Air jet because it was a medical device, and that's, they make exceptions. Well, guess what? They said, no, we're not going to let it on. Okay, what do I do now? Korea, for crying out loud. Again, made phone calls, hemmed and hawed and begged, "Oh my God, please help me." And finally they said, "Okay, but it'll cost you $150. Thanks, guys. Thanks. But at least they let it on, right? So then I had to move it to another terminal, and not just in the same building. I had to lug this 200-pound box off the luggage rack onto a cart out the door. I had to bring this monster up into a bus, drove to the other terminal, unload it, back onto a cart, over to the terminal, to the ticket office, or the check-in desk, and by that time I'm exhausted. I've had enough. Well, we finally got it to Cebu, and at that time, my brothers-in-law were there to pick me up, and they did the dirty work after that. And you know what? It was all worth it, because it made a big difference for Roberto, and that's what we wanted. I'd do anything for that guy. He's not just my father-in-law. I look at him just like my regular dad. So I'm very happy he's making a very strong recovery. Okay, where do we go from there? Are we going right home? No, I stuck around for a week and a half or whatever, and just in time to see Pacquiao fight Jeff Horn, right? This is going to be exciting. It was in Australia, where Horn is from, and I get to watch a Pacquiao fight while I'm sitting in the Philippines. This is going to be so cool, right? Well, you know how that ended up. I'm watching it by myself, and he got robbed. Make a long story short, it was so frustrating to watch. I was just steaming. I was so mad. Oh well, that's when you look at the big picture, hey, that's everything's fine. Mission accomplished. Then it was time to go back home. Okay, and the same thing in reverse, although not as hard because I was not carrying the lift chair. But we had flew to South Korea, and then there was a airline issue. God knows, I can't remember what it was. I had to fly to Taiwan, and then back to Dallas, and then back up to Minneapolis. So needless to say, I'm wiped out. And I took a shuttle back home, okay, passenger shuttle. And by the time we got back to our hometown, I asked the driver, very simple, very, hey, give me a break. Can you just drop me off here on the way as you're passing by where my neighborhood is? I know this is not where you usually stop, although you're not going out of your way. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. He took me back to the airport the hotel where he originally dropped me off. It was 2 miles from home. And guess what? It was 2 o'clock in the morning. And I knew Raquel had to get up at 4 to work, so I'm not going to call her. So I had to, and it was cold. Hey, it's Minnesota, right? In the middle of the night. And I'm walking without a coat through our neighborhood, 2 miles to get home. You know what? I was happy. I was home. So, hey, that's what really counts, But to wrap it up, it was with all the frustration, with the heavy bag, the scare with the baggage in Dallas, the frustration with the Korean Air people, and then the maddening experience of watching Pacquiao get robbed against Jeff Horn, then the screw up with the flight, I had to go to Taiwan, then walking 2 miles in the middle of the night back home. It was all worth it, because Roberto, and that's the whole story, is taking care or helping out your father-in-law. Roberto, hey, he's a tough guy, right? He has made an amazing recovery. He has recovered as well as any human being could after 4 strokes. And we ended up going back for his birthday a couple months later, and what an amazing man. He's tough. He's full of life and spirit and love, and I have the utmost respect for him. And we ended up going back for his birthday a couple months later, and you know what? Everything ended up just great. So, the moral of this story: traveling. When you first start traveling, when you're a kid, oh, it's so exciting! It's an adventure. Oh, this is glorious! It's amazing. After a while, no, it ain't. There's nothing glorious. There's nothing adventurous. There's all kinds of little headaches that come with traveling. But it's not so much the journey, it's the end result. And the end result this time was fantastic. Love you guys back in the Philippines. Look forward to getting back again after this medical nonsense subsides, and hopefully it will soon. That's it for this edition of Coffee with the Goose. Look forward to chatting with you again. Many more shows to come. Just to let you know, we do have a Facebook page, so please check that out. And, as more time goes by, pretty soon we're going to get the word on who Pacquiao is going to fight next. I think we mentioned this in a recent show. We know who it's not going to be. Okay, it's not going to be Triple G. It's not going to be Keith Thurman. It's not going to be Mayweather, right? It's not going to be Keith. I mentioned Thurman, yeah. Probably not going to be Terrence Crawford. So we're hoping, it'll be Errol Spence Jr. That's all I'm hoping for anyhow. We'll see. So stick with us. We'll give you the truth, the honest to God truth. So help me God. Thanks for watching again, and we'll talk to you again next time. See ya. My doctor told me I don't have to wear a mask on Saturday and Sunday. He says I have a weakened immune system. Okay, I know. Keep my day job. Have a good one, you guys. Go Pac-Man.